past is already written. The ink is dry.
Game of Thrones, c'est reparti et on en a profité pour faire le bilan avec certains comédiens. Aujourd'hui, Alfie Allen, alias Theon, alias Schling.
You remained loyal.
I didn't want them to take me.
When you signed up for this part, were you aware of Theon's future?
I was aware of the torture aspect of it all. I wasn't aware of the reek side of it. That was something that came new to me. I read about 2.5 of the books and then decided to stop reading them because I didn't want to preempt stuff for the future and be thinking. And you know, also there's stuff that happens in the TV show that doesn't happen in the books. So it's a whole different medium and it's taking on its own sort of life now, I think. And yeah, so I knew about the torture aspect of it. I knew also that because in the sort of 5th. It's only spoken about the torture in the sort of, I think, the 2nd book. I think it's just literally, no, it's the 3rd book, sorry. It's only spoken about in the 3rd book, and they brought all that sort of stuff forward because they would have had to wait till the 5th series to film it, so they brought all of it forward. So my storyline is one of the, I guess, one of the storylines where no one really knows what's going to happen because it's not even really been put down in the books yet. So in answer to your question, I knew some of his sort of, his future, but I still don't know a lot of it.
So you're in a show with a lot of violence and also a lot of sex, but your character hasn't anything less down there. Isn't that a little depressing?
I mean, for Theon, yeah, it probably is quite depressing. But for me as an actor, it was amazing to play because really his only point of authority is in the bedroom. You know, he doesn't, for his whole life, he's been essentially a slave in this Stark household. And so he's never had to make any decisions for himself. Every decision has been made for him. So really his only sort of point of authority is in the bedroom.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Terrible timing.
And so then, when David and Dan told me about that, that part of his anatomy was going to be taken away, I was really excited because it meant that the character was just really stripped down to nothing, and he had no power, no authority, and he's now really is a slave to this character.
Do you think Theon's fate is one of the worst on this show, except the dead ones, of course?
How do you define worst?
Well, I mean,
I would say he definitely has a tough journey out of, you know, he's one of the most human characters in it. You know, he doesn't really, I think it's an HBO trait with a lot of their shows is they create characters that are neither they're sort of in that grey area, you know, they've all got their own sort of motivations and their own path, and they're neither sort of good nor bad, I don't think. And with Theon, he is definitely just making mistakes, you know, and I think everyone can relate to that. Everyone's made a mistake. If you haven't, then you're not, you know, you're lying, you know. So I think in that respect, he's one of the more human characters in the show.
Of course, it's a magical and fantasy world, so can we hope one day Theon grows up a new magical dick?
I had thought of that myself. You never know what's going to happen in the Game of Thrones world. But yeah, that could happen. Who knows? But yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed, dude.
So take off the top, take a look inside. It's my dick in a box, my dick in a box, babe. It's my dick in a box, ooh, my dick in a box, girl.